Alright, so Chapter 9 is all about internet law, social media, and privacy on the internet. So within internet law, there's a lot of laws on spam, which is like junk email that you get. And if you get an email, that's spam, it has to give you the option at the bottom, like to stop it, or else it's illegal. Um, States vary with laws within this, but mainly you can't promote or deceive via email, or else it's considered spam. There's also laws with domain names, which for short they're called TLDs, top level domain, and those are given to companies to indicate the type of entity. So DORT, for example, has DORT.edu. It tells you it's an educational site or it's an organization.org or whatever. There's also laws considering cyber squatting, which is the law just to keep domain names differently, just like you can't have similar products that promote the same thing from the same site, just so every site is clearly what it is, what brand it is or whatever. Meta tags are also another thing that there's laws about, which are keywords that help with search engine results. You have to use with permission to get a user to your website. So you can't just use the meta tag Apple products so that your site comes up with when that is searched or something. And you can also, if your site wants to use their advertising or their logo, say Apple, you can permit that through licensing. So it's similar to trademarks, which we talked about last chapter. Also similar to last chapter were the copyrights on digital information. So this is most common with like music and movies, pirated movies, or MP3 sharing music. This is really popular like when computers started being able to do this. So that ISP, Internet Service Provider, is required to step in and shut it down if you can't control the consumer use of it. So the DMCA in 1998, DMCA is an act that, it's a copyright act that protects against this, so that like artists are protected and that they're not losing revenue on music sharing between on the internet. Next, it talked about social media. And social media is just basically where people can create, share, and exchange ideas. There can be a lot of legal issues with what people are saying on the internet, even though it's not spoken. So yeah, you can be liable through that, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be. It also can hinder like what your charge may be. Say you're charged for something separately, what you said on if you said something on social media that tied in with the situation, that can change it. It can be counted. It can be more effective as if you'd say it in person. It also can help with crime and detection. A lot of police officers use social media to find information about people and hunt down people, maybe in secret. There's also a lot of employers' policies within social media. Just say, so you're not just obligated to what the state says about social media, but also what your employer does and what you're putting out on the internet. The Electronic Communications Privacy Act. It was an act that prohibited intentional disclosure or use of information obtained by the interpreter. So basically, like you can't access stored communication on purpose. The state also protects against social media passwords, just so you're not forced to give your password to your employer to prove anything. But it also differs between states, but for the most part, your privacy and your passwords to your accounts are kept alone. And yeah, you're not obligated to share your social media platforms to employers, but often they ask, and I mean, you don't want to hide anything from your employers. Online defamation is what it inhibits cyber torts to protect against people communicating false statements about others. So this is also another big online law that is about what you put on social media. You can't lie about someone or put false information about something, and you can be subject to liability by what you say. Lastly, the chapter talked about privacy, which I also kind of touched on, but social media platforms accused of violating users' privacy rights. So this has happened, I think, recently with Facebook, and just like getting in people's accounts or looking at their information to promote ads that they want to put on their search engines. So yeah, that's a big thing, ads and making money. So yeah, and you put a lot of information on Facebook, so Facebook, which is overseeing all those accounts, has access to all those, which is kind of a scary thought. Privacy is more apparent in like e-banking, but like you have to know that the information you put on Twitter isn't as private. But say you log into your bank account, that is more higher security in that situation. Also, websites now have to have like required privacy policies available to all users just so they don't get caught sharing false information or anything like that. So yeah, that was most of it.